The class of 2014, they've survived the intense group projects, the all-night studying sessions, and the grueling internships. And now the job search is on for millions of new college grads. Unfortunately for them, the economic outlook in the U.S. is a lot rosier than when they started school. Hiring is on the rise, and so are salaries. Still, challenges remain. Studies show that almost 20% of those job seekers end up taking low-paying positions that they're overqualified for. And sometimes the jobs are outside their fields of study. But there is one group whose degrees practically shield them from that fate. CCTV Mark New joins us with more on those graduates with math, science, and business credentials.
Thanks. I'm here at one of the world's most esteemed universities. By several accounts, Stanford University has the top engineering and business schools in the U.S. It's not uncommon for savvy students to head into a job fair in between classes and come out with several lucrative offers in hand. In some cases, they can make as much as $120,000 a year. But this demand for engineering and business graduates isn't limited to the U.S. A new report shows more than 80% of Asia-based companies are looking to hire an MBA. But even with those coveted degrees in hand, some job seekers are taking their job search beyond the Fortune 500. They found a quicker way to the top through a little-known form of investment called search funds. Tucked away in a small office in a medical building, Harvard MBA graduate Alex Livingston works as a searcher.
Good morning, this is Alex Livingston from Redwood Management Partners. How's it going?
Livingston is looking for a business willing to be bought out so that he can run it.
I admire entrepreneurs that start their own company and can build something out of nothing, but that's an incredibly risky proposition. We think that purchasing a business that has existing customers, is historically profitable, but may just need extra management or a new leadership to take over the company to the next level is a less risky proposition.
Searchers typically look for businesses that generate between $5 to $30 million a year. For 2 years, the searcher receives a below-market salary and operational costs from a search fund. Investors in a search fund, like Rich Kelly, put in about $40,000, which buys him an option to invest in any deal the searcher finds.
It is absolutely astonishing to me how we've interviewed over 250 prospective searchers over the 10 years we've been doing this. And there haven't been 4 or 5 out of that group that you would just reject out of hand as not the right fit. Everyone else somehow self-selects for this model which says, all I want to do is run a business.
Search Fund Partners has invested in around 40 companies that have been found by searchers, with about 3/4 of them having turned out to be a success. The Stanford Graduate School of Business found that through 2011, search funds as a whole averaged an 11 times return on investment and an internal rate of return of 34% a year. This may be hard to believe, but no place knows more about the search fund than Stanford, where inside is the godfather of the search fund. Irving Grousbeck shaped the idea of the search fund 30 years ago when 2 of his students told him a wealthy friend of theirs wanted to pay them to find a company for him to buy. Since that time, Grousbeck says there's been between 200 to 300 search funds, with the majority run by recent business school graduates.
Search funders out trying to find such a company often find that they're the only bidder or buyer for such a company. You have smart young managers who are inexperienced in running a company, but there's momentum because the company is already making profits.
Livingston says in his first year of searching, he's twice come close to finding a company to buy, but the deals eventually fell through. But he's optimistic that the right company is still out there. He's just got to keep searching. Now here's a breakdown of a typical search fund. Each investor puts in $40,000. The searcher tries to raise that amount from about 15 different investors for a total of $600,000 to fund that 2-year search. Most searchers are looking for traditional businesses like technology services or healthcare, companies that are too small for private equity firms to pick up. The holy grail of search fund successes is the company Assurion, which started out as a tow truck company and leveraged its contacts to become a billion-dollar technology insurance company. Still, not that many people have heard of the search fund model, and the godfather of the search fund, Irv Grousbeck, says there has always been doubters.
people kept saying to us, well, why would an investor invest in somebody with no experience, give them money to go look for a company? Investors don't think that way. Investors say, bring me a company opportunity and I'll consider whether or not to invest in it. But this was totally different. This was a step earlier than that, which was give me money to go find the right kind of company. And eventually that caught on. The idea caught on. And the idea had two major question marks around it, or ways in which the concept, if you want to call it that, the search fund concept, conflicted with givens. One, people with no experience can run a company. And two, it's okay to give people with no experience some money to find a good company.
Groesbeck tells search fund company CEOs to think of themselves as a horse jockey. Your job is to guide the horse around the track and not bump into the railings. Just keep doing what the prior management did for a year or two until you're comfortable with the leadership role. Then you can start making changes. That's advice from the godfather of the search fund. Now back to you in the studio.